Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's exclusive webinar covering the Contractflow product update. So there have been recent new additions to our contract management product, which is built on the Now platform. So today's webinar will be giving a walkthrough by Vikram. So Vikram is the product expert and manages the pre-sales at Avni. And Vikram, yeah, let's go ahead and let's share. Please share the new updates, which have been added to our product.
All right. Yes, Maddie, thank you very much. Hi, everyone. This is Vikram once again, and I'm very glad to be back here today to share the latest features that we've now released with our newest version of Contractflow. That's Contractflow 3.0, which you can see on the screen. So we've got some really amazing features, and we always listen to what our customers are saying and what their needs are, and so based on that, we come out with new and interesting features with every new release. So today we are going to take a look at what some of those new and interesting features are. I'm going to share my screen. Give me a second. All right, Maddie, are you able to confirm that you can see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, so once again, I'm on Avni Contractflow. And as usual, just a disclaimer. So this is the landing page. This is where I see all the dashboards and charts and graphs. And this page may look different for each one of you because each one of your implementation is very different and unique. So yeah, but that's just something that I wanted to just bring up as a disclaimer. So, but yeah, so this is a landing page. Now, we've got a whole bunch of new capabilities and new features. So let's start with that. So first thing is, a lot of our customers have given us the feedback that they would like to see their contracts in a folder-like structure in a directory view. So we've gone ahead and built that out. So now you can go into the sidebar and click this option, your repository view. And what that does is it will show you a list of all your contracts, like in a repository, like here, like in a folder-like structure. Now, there are a couple of things here. First of all, in the folder view, you can view by contract type. So what you're seeing here right now is all your contracts by contract type. So here are your different types of agreements, your master service agreements, your NDAs, your purchase agreements, purchase orders. So, and you can click on any one of these, say, for example, and expand that list to see which are the actual contracts under this category. So these are all your purchase orders. You can click this link here, view contract details, which will actually take you into that particular contract. And you can see the details of that contract as well. Yep. So if you want to see all your NDAs, you can expand the NDA section, and you can see here that these are all your NDAs, along with some information about what state it is in right now. And with every contract, you will get this link, view contract details, which you can click to actually go into that particular contract. Now you can actually change this folder view to by vendor. So this will switch the view immediately from being contract type centric to more vendor centric. So now you can see all the vendors, and this could be your customers list as well if you're using the CLM solution for your sell side contracts as well. So basically you can see all your contracts by all the companies. So let's say if I click on Creative Labs, what I will see here is all the different contracts that I have with Creative Labs. And so I can see there's a master services agreement. I can see the status. I can see there's a purchase agreement. There's a couple of statements of works. And again, I can click view contract details to actually go into any one of these contracts. Now, there is an interesting capability here, which is add filters. Now you can add filters specifically by contract types and specifically by vendors. So let's say you want to see only your contracts with let's say Acer. So you can just select Acer and hit go. And now these are all your contracts with Acer. Okay. Okay. Now you want to actually see that with Acer, or you specifically want to know which are the NDAs. So you can type in NDA as an additional filter, and you want to also see only the master service agreements. So you can select these as an additional filter. So now when you click go, you'll be able to see which are the NDAs and master service agreements that you have with Acer. So let's see. All right, so there you go. So now you can see that you have only one company listed here in the search results. That's Acer. And under Acer, these are all the different contracts you have. So you can see these are master service agreements. Here's an NDA. These are all master service agreements. And here the last one is also again an NDA. So now it's become very easy for you to search your contracts and be able to navigate to specific contracts. So this is basically how you can take advantage of the folder-like view, folder-like structure. The big advantage of this is it gives a much better perspective, and a better visual representation as well, because most of us are very familiar with folder-like structures. We've been working with folder-like structures since the time we ever started working with computers and laptops, right? Windows Explorer has really one of the biggest examples of that. So that's the reason why we decided to go ahead and provide this capability. So I'm sure this is something that you would really, love using on a day-to-day basis. Okay. Let me quickly, just give me a second, please. Okay. So, yeah. All right. Sorry about that. So back here, the next capability which I want to talk about is, so here's a contract. We are on the live view page of the contract, where you can see the contract metadata, you can see the contract life cycle, you can see the contract template as well, right? So I'm sure this is a very familiar page. So you all know this page. You'll probably use this day in and day out already. So this is a contract which is an MSA, and it's currently gone through these stages, the draft, review, and currently it's in approval. But what I really want to show you here is that we now track all email collaboration that you have with internal or external stakeholders from within this system itself. So if you actually scroll down to the bottom section where it says related lists, so there's one tab here that says contract emails. So if you click that tab, you will be able to see every email communication that has happened with respect to this contract right here. So which means you don't need to actually jump out of the system and go into your email. Everything is tracked here, including the email subject, the email bodies. If I click on that email, I can see that this is the original email that was sent out. And then this was the reply that came in, the reply email. So the reply email came in with this body. The complete email trail is also provided. So including any attachments, if there are any attachments. So the complete email trail is captured. So any communication that you have with any stakeholder, whether internal or external, through email, as in when you send for external review or when you send for internal review using these actions here. So those email trails will be captured here. Okay, so this gives you a very seamless experience once again. So that little it completely eliminates that need for you to switch from this system and go into your email. So there is another very interesting feature here. Now, while you can definitely see these chevrons, which gives you instant view into what stages have completed and what stage it is in right now. But we now have this audit history tab, which gives you more information about how this contract progress from one stage to the next stage. So as you can see here, it's says this is this box shows you the latest stage. This is a very good graphical representation of the change or the progress of the contract from one stage to another stage. So currently you can see that the current life cycle status is in approval. So there are two fields here. There's an old value and new value. The old value says in review. The new value says in approval. That means this contract was initially in the in review status, and now it moved into the in approval status. And this change of status happened in this particular case 20 days ago at this date and this time. So the complete date and time stamp is also captured here. And this is the user, Lisa, who actually made this contract move into the next stage. Okay. So you now have complete information about which user is actually, responsible for changing the stage. In other words, progressing the contract through the stages. And you also have the date time stamp captured, which means that, the date time stamp was always captured earlier also, but now we show it here in this graphical view. And so actually how long it has been in a particular stage. So it's very easy to know that, and then you can take some action on it. So for example, if this is in this stage since 20 days, it's waiting for approval, you might want to take some action. Or alternatively, you could set up auto reminder, auto escalation rules in the system itself, that if a contract is in a particular stage for more than, let's say, X number of days, then some kind of a automatic escalation or a reminder should be triggered. Okay, so let's move on to the next capability. So just a quick recap, we just saw the repository view, which is this folder view structure. And then we saw this the contract email history, as well as this audit history, which shows you the progression of a contract through the various stages. Now we will move on to so this is a new feature property which we have introduced, which your ServiceNow administrators can enable for you. This is called enable approval dialog. Currently it is set to a value of true. Now what this means is this will now allow you to send contracts for approval on an ad hoc basis, which means you can actually decide by yourself whom a particular contract should be sent to for approval. So for example, I have this new contract, which is in the draft status right now, and I would like to send this for approval. So I can actually go ahead and click actions and choose this action, send for approval. And what it will do is it will open up a dialog box, a window basically, where I can choose an approver user. I can choose more than one users as well. So I can say I want to send this to Eric, or I can send it to a group which can have more than one, approver users in it. So it can be a legal group, it could be a finance group. You can set up these groups very easily. You can type in a note over here, something that will be visible basically to the approver users. And then when you hit send, this contract will be sent for approval. So this is again a very useful feature. So earlier we supported pre-configured approvals where you pre-configure the rules based on certain conditions and criteria. But now you also have the capability to be able to decide manually as to who should be approving this contract. And so you have that flexibility as well. So if you want to use this feature, you can ask your ServiceNow administrators to enable this setting for you, which is enable approval dialog. And they will definitely know how to do this. And they just need to set this value to true. Okay, let's move on to the next capability. So now, as an organization, you've invested in the solution, and one of our biggest objectives is that we always want you to use this system. We want you to use this platform. And that's the whole reason, why we have our customer success managers working very closely with you to ensure that, that if you need any help or any assistance, you can always get that from us very easily. So the whole idea being that we really want you to use the solution. And it's also important for you because you also want to, make sure that you're getting that return on your investment, by having all your users use this system. So to help you with that, we've also now introduced adoption metrics as part of the system itself. So as you can see here on the screen, so you can actually access this adoption metrics by going into the sidebar and clicking this link here, contract adoption metrics. This will open up this page where you can see how many contracts you're creating every month. So obviously this graph is showing some kind of a trend. So this is, of course, these trends will be different for different each one of you, depending upon how many contracts you're doing each month. It all depends upon how the nature of your business, the line of business, the geography in which you're doing business, and so on, and various other external factors. But essentially, this gives you a view into how well are you using this system, whether you're creating contracts through the system or not. So this gives you that instant view. So in January, you have actually created 51 contracts, which is, according to this graph, the highest number of contracts ever created through the system, which is definitely a very positive indicator. So the more contracts your users are creating through the system, the better it is for you in terms of, realizing the return on the investment on this system. But there's one more thing. So in addition to knowing how many contracts you're creating, month on month, it's also important to know whether these contracts are being created across by all users, or is it only one or two users who are basically, creating all these contracts, right? So because you want a broad user adoption as well. And so we also show you this metric here, this graph, which shows you contracts by user. So there are various users here. There's Lisa, there's Vikram, there's Chirag, there's a bunch of other users. So we can see here how many contracts they've created. So Lisa has created 63 contracts, Vikram is 18 contracts, 17, Rohit is 17. And this user seems to, has created the least number of contracts. So you may want to just check, whether it's because just, she just doesn't do too many contracts, or whether she's facing any challenge, or with understanding how the system works, whether she needs any help or assistance. And of course, if she needs any help or assistance, your customer success managers are always available for you. But overall, this gives you a very good view into how your user base is beginning to adopt this system. And as you know, adoption is the key to the success for any system that has been implemented. So this is really helpful for you to monitor that adoption, and hence that success. There's some other insights that you can get through these adoption parameters, such as today when you're doing your contracts, you also want to have some understanding as to what are the most frequently used clauses which you'll negotiate, which are the most frequent contracts you'll do in your organizations. So there are some graphs here which give you that kind of insight as well. So there's clause category, which shows you, according to this graph here, there's the general category, the confidentiality, the termination clause are the most commonly used clauses that are negotiated as part of your contract. So that gives you a very good, that's a very good insight, because now you can, if you know that these are the clause categories or the clauses that are negotiated most frequently, then you can go ahead and build some repositories of alternate clause libraries, which everyone in your organization can use as part of the negotiation life cycle, because now you know that these are the clauses that are most frequently negotiated. So it makes sense to build a repository of alternate clauses for these clauses. So like if your contracts have 100 clauses in them, you don't want to go ahead and invest time and effort in building alternate clause languages for all those 100 clauses, right? So you want to make sure that you're putting that effort in the right place, because building an alternate clause library is not something that's easy. It requires a lot of it's actually a lot of intellectual work. So you want to make sure that you're putting that effort in the right place. So now you know that, okay, these are the most frequently negotiated clauses. So let's go ahead and build an alternate language library for these clauses, which will ultimately just help you make your negotiation process much more faster And apart from being making it faster, it will also standardize the process of negotiation across your organization, because anyone in your organization who's involved in negotiations, they will now be able to fall back on a standard set of alternate languages to, progressively alter your contractual positions. So that brings in a standardization of, in terms of negotiating your contracts. Okay. The other thing is you also get to see which are your most frequent contracts by types or models. So in this instance, I can see that this company does mostly master service agreements, mostly business agreements, sales orders, and addendum. So again, it's very useful to know this as well, because then you would know what kind of resources, whether human resources or any other type of resources you need to invest in. If you know that master service agreements are the most common agreements in your organization, then that's the kind of you would probably you would want to have people in your organization who are specialists in master service agreements, those who are specialists in business associate agreements and things like that, right? So again, all of these insights that you're seeing here really help you to know where to channelize your resources, whether it's human resources or financial resources or whatever those resources may be, efforts. So that's the key advantage you get from these insights. It's not just about it's good to know, it's certainly good to know these insights, but it's also the real benefit is it helps you channelize your efforts, your time, your money in the right areas in the right way. There's this last one here which says contracts by 3PP, that's third party paper. Again, they're very useful. So I ask a lot of my customers, my prospects, in fact, in the early sales cycle. So my common question to them is, hey, can you tell me whether you do mostly contracts on your own paper or third party paper, and if so, then what's general proportion in terms of the split between your own paper and third party paper? Often I'm not able to get a right answer because they don't even know that split, right? Because when you're doing contracts manually, you just don't know, right? How many contracts you did on your own paper versus how many you did on third party paper. So this gives you that split. So, if this is my company, so I can see that, 270 contracts were on own paper, whereas only 9 contracts were on third party paper. So very small percentage. So, but if someone were to ask me that question, or even if, your boss were to ask you that question, how many contracts did we do on our own paper in the last year? So you have that answer immediately here, it's instant. Just you have that exact number. So yeah, you can say that we did 9 contracts on third party paper. So again, very useful information. So yeah, so this was about Contractflow adoption metrics, and I'm sure that you will find this extremely useful. Let's move on to the next feature, which is again another property which we have brought out. So this is again another property which your system admins, your service admins can set for you. It's this is called show wet and e-sign both together. And currently the value of this has been set to true in my instance. Now what this is basically, a lot of our customers have asked for this capability to be able to send a contract either for wet signature or for e-signature. So they want to have both the options available to them. Earlier, it used to be that you either, it's either e-signature or it's wet signature, but you're not given that option. But now, because of this property setting, you now have this option. Like let's say, for example, this is a contract which is right now in draft, and I would like to send this for signatures. So I can go into actions. And now you see I have both the options available here. I can send for either e-signature or I can send it for wet signature. So I can choose. And this is enabled with this property. I'll just show that once again. Show wet and e-sign both together. This is another property which is now shipped out of the box with the latest version. Your ServiceNow administrators will be able to set this value to true or false, depending upon whether you want this capability to show to have both the options available or not. So again, a very useful and handy feature, and something that we've heard about from feedback from our customers. Moving on. So this is a sent for review. I'm sure this is familiar to all of you. So when you use the contract flow, you want to send a contract for external review. So this is the screen that pops up where you select the contract attachment, and you have to, you choose a template, which populates the subject and the body. But in your current versions, choosing a template is mandatory. You will see a red star here besides the template label, just like how you see the red star here, which means that you have to choose a template. But what we've heard from our customers is that they want the ability to, decide whether they want to actually choose a template or they would like to, type in the subject and body. So we've gone ahead and, made the template optional. So now you don't see the red star besides template, which means that you can just type in your subject and body as you wish, the way it's most appropriate, and then just go ahead and hit send. And this would be, so it's no longer mandatory to choose a template. You can choose a template even now, but you could actually just ignore the template and type it manually also. The tool list here, by the way, also has one enhanced capability, which is it shows you all the most frequently used contacts with whom you collaborate. Instead of showing a massive list of all users in the system. But if you wanted to see more records, then you have this, show more, right? Which we've now introduced. If you click show more, it will show you all the other users as well. But it doesn't make sense to show all that massive list of users right in the beginning, because you're not really going to be collaborating with all those users, right? So the most frequently used users are shown in the list. Okay, and so we now come to the last one, which is something which everyone wants. And so we have now introduced a new role in our system, which is also shipped out of the box. This is called CLM read-only user. It's a very useful role. Your ServiceNow platform administrators will be able to help you with this. So if you want to provide read-only access to anyone in your organization to contracts in our solution, you just need to make sure that that person has this particular role, CLM read-only user. This is a role now that we now ship out of the box. In many of your implementations, we have set up this role, but now it is available out of the box. So, you can feel free to use this. If you have anyone, like maybe your managers or your boss or someone who doesn't have this access to the system, they can now get read-only access simply by being assigned this role. So you can ask your ServiceNow administrators to help you with that. So that brings us to the end of this session. So this is just a quick recap. We saw the folder-like structure in the beginning, and then we saw the capability of, we saw the graphical into a representation of the lifecycle stage. We also saw that all email correspondence is now captured within the system. So you don't have to jump out of the system, go to email. There's this new feature for the ad hoc approval. So it doesn't have to be a pre-configured approval anymore. It could be an ad hoc approval where you decide manually whom to send for approval. We have all of these contract adoption metrics. A new property to show both options for wet signature and e-signatures. It's no longer optional, no longer mandatory to select a template when you're sending a contract for internal or external review. And lastly, an out-of-the-box read-only role. So yeah, so that's it. So I hope you like these new features that we've brought out with our newest release, Contractflow 3.0. These are you can actually pull them, and if you want to upgrade, and we strongly recommend that you upgrade to this version. You can feel free to get in touch with your customer success managers, who will definitely help you with the process to upgrade your system. And yeah, so that's it from me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vikram, and really amazing updates. I really loved the adoption metrics, also finding the third-party paper. That's some of the key, pain areas, which we really address. So thank you for the amazing session and the product updates. So moving on to the next session, we are having Ask the Expert. So please do join the next session because we will be covering the length and breadth of the entire product. And we are keeping this session a bit open and a dialogue, meaning two-way communication will be there. So I would urge everyone to don't miss out an important session wherein in a single session you will get all your doubts cleared, or if there is any new feature which you want to use and you're not aware, we can simplify that problem. So with that, I would like to thank you again for taking your time out and watching today's product updates. And feel free to reach out to your customer success manager for if you have any doubts or how to update your current version and how they can help you. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Mrunmay. Thank you, Vikram, once again, and catch up soon in the next session. Bye for now.